No, the most I can ask for is opportunity. See, like that's an uncontrollable thing that I'm not able to control, and that's not, nothing I should speak on. Just being the quarterback of this team, this franchise, or they gave me an opportunity. I don't think that's not my place, to answer to even be able to give the answer to that. I feel like it's not in my control, so I'm not even gonna think about that or have that even in my thought process of why it is. Like, there's a lot of people that want to have the opportunity to be at this level, and I'm here, and I'm thankful to have the opportunity. So whenever that is, it is. But it doesn't make me feel down, or it doesn't make me feel left out or anything, because I know who I am as a person. I know who I am as an individual. I know I'm definitely a great teammate. So I can.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. The wildest part about all this is that if you didn't really lock in on what happened, you'd think this was just a bad game from a rookie. A couple missed throws, an ugly interception. Browns lose to the Ravens, move on, right? But nah, this was different. This was bigger. This was one of those nights where you could literally feel the entire direction of a franchise shift. And it all started with a kid getting told at halftime, "You're in." Put yourself in his shoes for a second. You're Shedeur Sanders. You've been running scout team. You've been doing everything the right way, taking backup reps, staying ready, saying all the right things. The whole week, the game plan is built for Dylan Gabriel. He's the one getting the timing with Jerry Jeudy. He's the one running with the ones. You're watching, learning, waiting. You're not supposed to see the field. And then boom, halftime. Ravens are up, the offense is flat, the building's tense, and your head coach looks you in the eye and tells you, it's time for you to step up. No warning, no full install built around your strengths, no chemistry with the starting receivers. Just, you're the guy now. Go save the season against one of the nastiest defenses in football. That does something to a quarterback's mind. I don't care who you are. Rookies don't get thrown in cold against teams like Baltimore. Usually when a young QB debuts, it's scripted, it's planned. You spend the whole week knowing you're the starter. You get those first team reps, you build that rhythm, your coach designs the script to help you settle in. What Shedeur got was the exact opposite. He got chaos, he got noise, he got the Ravens dialed up and smelling blood. And here's the thing that hit me watching it live. The whole atmosphere in that stadium changed the second he grabbed his helmet. You could feel it through the screen. That buzz, that, oh my God, it's happening energy. Some fans were excited, some were nervous, some were straight up desperate. But everybody felt it. This wasn't just a quarterback substitution. This was a fan base, a locker room, maybe even an entire organization holding its breath to see if this kid they'd been talking about, tweeting about, hyping up, was actually ready. We've seen moments like this before, man. Think about Jalen Hurts taking over in Philly. Think about when Dak originally stepped in for Romo. These aren't just depth chart moves. These are timeline shifts. Sometimes that one decision, that one "you're in" at the right or wrong time, becomes the moment people look back on years later and say, yeah, that's where everything changed. So no, this wasn't just about stats. It wasn't just about completion percentage or passer rating. This was about mentally being yanked from backup mode into franchise savior mode in 15 minutes. This was a test of poise, of identity, of how a young quarterback responds when the situation is absolutely stacked against him. And that's why this matters so much. Because now we have to ask the real question. Did the Browns, whether they meant to or not, set Shedeur Sanders up to fail? Or did that chaotic halftime decision accidentally crack open the door to the beginning of the Shedeur era in Cleveland? Right now, the craziest part about the entire Shedeur Sanders conversation is that people still think this is just hype. Like he's some social media quarterback or some college star writing a name. But if you actually watched him, if you actually listened to that press conference and saw how he handled every single question, you'd realize real quick, this kid is built for the NFL in ways that go way beyond arm strength or footwork drills. This is someone who walks into the room with a calmness you can't coach and a maturity that most quarterbacks don't reach until year 4 or 5. And we saw it instantly. No finger pointing, no excuses, no throwing the coaching staff under the bus. He sat there, took responsibility for everything, and still carried himself like the leader of the team, even though he technically isn't the starter. That's not normal. That's quarterback DNA. But his situation in Cleveland? Man, it's weird. It's messy. It's the kind of QB room that leaves everyone guessing. The coaches, the players, the media, the fans. One day, Dylan Gabriel is the unquestioned QB1. The next day, his status is week to week. And then suddenly, Shedeur is being thrown into a rivalry game with zero warning. That's not structure. That's not stability. That's a team trying to find an identity. And whether the Browns realize it or not, Shedeur actually fits that identity better than anyone else in the building. He's fearless. He's composed. He doesn't shrink when the lights hit him. And even with the odds stacked against him, you could see flashes of exactly why this coaching staff drafted him in the first place. His processing speed? Already NFL level. The moment he broke down that interception by talking about the defender's hips turning, that right there told you everything. Most rookies are still learning the basics of reading leverage. Shedeur is out here diagnosing defensive back movement like a guy who's been running 2-minute drills for a decade. And his accuracy, even in a chaotic situation, was there. Not perfect, but the intent, the mechanics, the confidence to rip throws into tight windows. You can't fake that. You can't coach someone into being calm under fire. Either you have it or you don't, and Shedeur has it in his veins. What really separates him, though, is the poise. Because let's be honest, that Ravens defense is designed to embarrass young quarterbacks. They bring pressure from angles that confuse veterans. They disguise coverages that make Pro Bowlers hesitate, and yet Shedeur never looked rattled. Frustrated? Sure. But afraid? Never. And when a fan base sees that, when a blue-collar city like Cleveland sees a young quarterback take hits, stand tall, and keep swinging, they latch onto it. They feel it. They respect it. That's why the moment he stepped onto that field, you heard the stadium erupt. It wasn't noise, it was belief. It was people saying, finally, this might be our spark. And here's where the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Dylan Gabriel is the safe option. The system QB. The guy who won't make huge mistakes but also won't blow a game open with a single throw. Shedeur is the opposite. He brings juice, swagger, that Colorado fire, the same edge that made him must-watch TV on Saturdays. And that energy fits Cleveland more than anything the Browns have had under center since maybe Baker's rookie year. But with more maturity, more composure, and way more long-term upside. People think fans are overreacting. Nah, they're not overreacting at all. They're responding to something real. Because when you look at who Shedeur Sanders is right now, the leader, the thinker, the fighter, the spark, you start to realize he's not just knocking on the door of the QB1 job. He's 1 or 2 chances away from kicking it wide open. There's a whole side of this story that nobody in the national media wants to touch. And honestly, it blows my mind. Because if you actually break down what Shedeur Sanders walked into, you start to realize this wasn't just a tough debut. It was practically a setup for failure. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but structurally, systemically. And every quarterback knows this. If you don't get first-team reps during the week, you are basically stepping into a gunfight blindfolded. Timing? Gone. Chemistry? Gone. Rhythm? Non-existent. People don't understand how catastrophic that is for a young QB. Those reps aren't just practice. They're where a quarterback learns the heartbeat of the offense. And Shedeur didn't get any of them. Then you add in the opponent, the Baltimore Ravens, the worst possible team to face when you've had zero preparation. This is a defense that eats experienced quarterbacks alive. They disguise coverages better than anybody. They show pressure from one side and bring it from the other. They bait turnovers with pre-snap looks that make you think you're seeing cover 2, then rotate into cover 4 the second you snap the ball. And they do it fast. Violent, disciplined. You don't want your rookie's first live NFL read coming against a defense that's been torturing veterans for a decade. But that's exactly what the Browns threw Shedeur into. And yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The QB management in Cleveland has been confusing at best. I'm not here to slander coaches. This isn't personal. But the handling of this quarterback room has been bizarre. One week Dylan Gabriel is the unquestioned starter, the next week he's barely hanging on. And then boom, halftime hits and suddenly the rookie has to be Superman with 15 minutes of notice. What are we doing here? What exactly is the plan? Because from the outside looking in, it feels like there isn't one, and it's the young quarterback who pays the price for that. Meanwhile, the media spins it the same predictable way they always do. He didn't look ready. He missed throws. He looked overwhelmed. Bro, what did you expect? You throw a rookie into a division rivalry with no timing, no chemistry, no first-team reps, and half the national analysts still pretend like this was some kind of final judgment. That's not analysis. That's lazy storytelling. If you actually watch the tape, the mistakes make sense. The footwork drifted because he was speeding up the clock. The timing windows were off because he doesn't know the depth of the starter's breaks yet. The anticipation wasn't there because anticipation comes from trust, and trust comes from repetition. None of that is a talent problem. It's a preparation problem. And then there's the part nobody wants to talk about. The locker room tension, not drama, not beef, but the natural tension that happens when a fan base clearly favors the backup quarterback. When Shedeur stepped onto that field, the stadium erupted. Fans were cheering the switch before the kid even threw a pass. That affects the starter, whether people want to admit it or not. And Shedeur knows that. He literally said he felt bad. He said he doesn't want to be a distraction. Imagine being a rookie trying to help your team, trying to stay ready, and somehow your existence alone, your potential, is creating pressure inside the building. That's a heavy weight for a young quarterback. It messes with the chemistry of the room. It creates this quiet, unspoken competition where every rep is judged, every throw is magnified, every mistake becomes fuel for fan arguments. But here's the thing. This is exactly why fans are riding for Shedeur so hard. Because he's the underdog fighting the system, fighting circumstances, fighting preparation failures, media narratives, and a messy QB hierarchy he didn't create. And he still walks into press conferences taking full accountability, taking the blame, taking the weight. That's why people believe in him. Because when everything is stacked against him, when the situation is unfair, when no one expects anything from him, that's when he shows who he really is. And honestly, this is the part of the story where legends either crumble or start rising. And based on everything we've seen, Shedeur's not crumbling. He's just getting warmed up. You know what gives me chills about this whole situation? Even in the middle of all the chaos, all the pressure, all the unfair circumstances, Shedeur still showed flashes. Real flashes. The kind of moments that make you sit up, rewind the clip, and say, hold on, that's different. And that's where the tone of this story starts to shift. Because when you strip away the lack of reps, the timing issues, the Ravens' disguises, and all the noise around him, you can actually see the quarterback he's going to become. Let's start with the quick reads. There were a couple plays, and you probably noticed them too, where Shedeur caught the snap, processed the defense instantly, and got the ball out before the pressure even arrived. That's not rookie stuff. That's advanced processing. That's a quarterback who already trusts his eyes, even when everything around him is moving at NFL speed. And then there were the creative moments, the off-script plays where the pocket collapsed and he had to improvise. Just little flashes, sliding, resetting, trying to fire something downfield. The execution wasn't perfect, but the instinct was there. You can't teach that instinct. You can only refine it. But the moment that really stuck with me? The toughness. This dude was taking legit NFL hits, not college-level bumps, not preseason-friendly tackles. Real shots from Pro Bowl defenders. And every single time, he got up. No flinch, no hesitation. That's when I knew he wasn't overwhelmed. He was adjusting, learning, absorbing. That's what rookies need. And honestly, you could see the players around him respond to that. When a rookie quarterback gets drilled, stands up, and jogs back into the huddle without blinking, veterans notice. They respect that. And on the sidelines, there were moments, small ones but real, where teammates leaned in when he spoke, listened, followed his energy. Leadership isn't about the scoreboard, it's about presence. And Shedeur has presence. Now imagine this, a full week of first-team reps. Let that sink in. A full week where the playbook is built around him. A full week where he's throwing to Jerry Jeudy every day, learning his break tendencies, figuring out how he sells a double move, how he adjusts versus press. A full week building timing with David Njoku, who thrives when he knows exactly when and where his quarterback wants the ball. A full week working with the offensive line on cadence, rhythm, pocket flow. A full week studying film as the starter, not the maybe you'll play backup. You cannot overstate how much that changes a quarterback's comfort, confidence, and accuracy. And let's not pretend like the locker room hasn't seen this potential already. There were stories from training camp, little whispers about how quickly he picked up concepts, how sharp he was in the film room, how he asked the right questions, how veterans kept saying, "This kid's different." That's emotional intelligence. That's awareness. That's the stuff rookies usually take months or even years to figure out. Shedeur has it now. The missing piece isn't talent, it's experience. Experience is what smooths out the timing. Experience is what sharpens anticipation. Experience is what turns close misses into first downs. And now that he's felt real NFL pressure, real NFL speed, real NFL chaos, he's got something he didn't have before. Data, muscle memory, a reference point. The next time he feels pressure off the edge, he'll know exactly how fast it's coming. The next time a receiver hesitates on a break, he'll recognize the timing difference. These aren't flaws, they're growth points. And that's why I'm telling you, man, the breakthrough is closer than they think. You give Shedeur Sanders one full week as the actual starter, with the offense built around his strengths, you're not going to see the version you saw against Baltimore. You're going to see the real version, the Colorado version, the locked-in version, the poised version, the version that can slice a defense apart when the chemistry is there. Because this isn't about hoping he becomes something. It's about recognizing what he already is and understanding that all he needs now is reps. Give him that, and Cleveland won't just have a spark. They'll have a problem for the rest of the AFC North. I'm just gonna say it, because at this point, dancing around it feels pointless. This might be the moment. This might be the exact point in time where the Cleveland Browns accidentally stumbled into the beginning of the Shedeur Sanders era. And I know that sounds dramatic. I know some people are going to roll their eyes, but look at everything we've watched, everything we've heard, everything we've felt over the last 48 hours. This isn't hype. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the reality of a franchise that's been searching for a leader, a spark, a heartbeat, and they might have already found him without even realizing it. Because here's the truth. Quarterbacks aren't defined by perfect circumstances. Anyone can look good with a flawless game plan, a clean pocket, and a full week of preparation. What defines the great ones, the real franchise-changing guys, are the moments where everything is stacked against them, and they still show the traits you can't teach. Poise, grit, accountability, fire. Shedeur showed all of that in the middle of a storm. He didn't point fingers. He didn't pout. He didn't hide. He stood there and said, "That's on me," when it absolutely wasn't. That's leadership. That's maturity. That's what makes teammates ride for you and fans believe in you. And you can feel the fan energy shifting. You can feel the city waking up. Cleveland has always been a blue-collar football town. Emotional, loyal, hungry for a quarterback who plays with the same toughness the fans live with every day. And suddenly here comes this kid who took a beating, stood tall, kept swinging, and still thanked God for the opportunity. Tell me that doesn't resonate. Tell me that doesn't connect. Tell me that fan noise wasn't real when he stepped on that field. So here's the big question. The one everybody's arguing about right now. Is it officially time? Is it time to hand the keys to Shedeur Sanders and see what this thing really looks like? For me, yeah, it is. Not because Dylan Gabriel is trash, not because Shedeur is some guaranteed superstar, but because of the mentality, the accountability, the football IQ, the leadership, the spark, the way he handled the moment he wasn't supposed to have. There are certain guys who only need a crack in the door before they kick it off the hinges. Shedeur feels like one of those guys. And here's my prediction. And stamp this one, clip it, save it, whatever you want. If Shedeur Sanders gets a full week of preparation as the starter, we are going to see a completely different quarterback. Not a perfect one, not a finished product, but the real version, the confident version, the version with chemistry, the version who's not reacting, he's dictating. If he gets that chance next week, we might witness the first true explosion game of his NFL career. The one people look back on and say, yeah, that's where it started. So I'll leave it with this. Cleveland, you've been waiting decades for a quarterback who matches your energy, your passion, your toughness, your belief. You might finally have him, but now it comes down to you. Are you Team Shedeur or Team Dylan? Drop it in the comments. Make your voice heard. Because whether the coaching staff wants to admit it or not, this thing is shifting fast, and the fan base is about to influence the future of this team more than ever. And if Shedeur gets that real shot, if he gets those reps, if he gets the game plan built for him, this entire city might be witnessing the birth of something legendary.